Have you ever noticed how the definition of luxury has completely shifted over the last decade? It used to be about excess. Gold fixtures, massive chandeliers, marble covering every conceivable surface. But today, if you ask the global elite what they truly desire, the answer is almost invisible.
It's silence and space. The modern metropolis is a sensory overload, a constant barrage of noise, digital notifications, and endless concrete. True luxury today is the ability to curate your environment to completely filter out that chaos while still keeping your finger on the pulse of the city. It is the ultimate paradox, wanting to be at the absolute center of the world, but entirely insulated from its friction.
That paradox is exactly what I want to unpack today. We are looking at a specific phenomenon in Ho Chi Minh City, specifically in the Thao Dien neighborhood of what is now Thu Duc City. There is this one development that has become a sort of gravitational center for the international community. They call it an oasis for the elite.
Yes, the project that has essentially rewritten the rulebook for high-end urban living in Vietnam. It is fascinating because when you look at the sheer volume of premium real estate popping up across Southeast Asia, very few manage to capture the elusive demographic of high-level expatriates, diplomats, and global CEOs the way this specific project has. It's not just an apartment building. It's a psychological sanctuary, designed with surgical precision.
Let's start with the geography of that sanctuary. It's situated on a prime stretch of road right by the Saigon River. But a river view isn't exactly a new concept in real estate. Developers have been charging a massive premium for blue space for centuries. What makes this particular positioning so magnetic for people who could afford to live literally anywhere?
You are right that water is a classic premium, but it's about how the architecture interacts with that water. Here, you have a sweeping, unobstructed, 270-degree curve of the river. From a psychological standpoint, looking out over a massive flowing body of water instantly lowers cortisol levels. When these global executives come home after navigating high-stakes boardrooms in a hyper-energetic, relentlessly moving city like Saigon, that river view acts as a cognitive reset button. It provides a visual horizon. In a dense, rapidly developing urban landscape, an unbroken horizon is the rarest commodity of all.
I love that phrase, a visual horizon. It makes absolute sense. You are buying the sky and the water, not just the floor plan. And yet, this profound tranquility is literally a stone's throw away from absolute urban convenience. We are talking about the ultimate realization of the 15-minute city concept here, aren't we?
Exactly. The 15-minute city is the urbanist's holy grail, and Thao Dien has organically grown into one of the best examples of it in Asia. The idea is that everything you need for a high-functioning, culturally rich life is within a 15-minute walk or a very short drive. We are talking about world-class international schools where these executives send their children, gourmet European bistros, contemporary art galleries, and boutique wellness clinics. The international community doesn't want to compromise. They want the pastoral, quiet peace of a remote suburb, but they demand the culinary and cultural infrastructure of a major global capital. This development sits right at the intersection of those two impossible demands, offering an all-in-one convenience that is incredibly seductive.
Which brings us to the physical structure itself. When you look at the building, it doesn't look like a standard, sterile, glass and steel monolith. It looks alive. The concept of biophilic design is central here, with lush greenery seemingly cascading down the walls from the roof all the way to the street-level podium. Is this just an aesthetic trend to make the building look good on a brochure, or is there a deeper functional philosophy at play?
It is profoundly functional, and it speaks to a deep, often unacknowledged human need. Biophilic design stems from the understanding that human beings possess an innate biological affinity for the natural world. We spent millions of years evolving in forests and savannas, and only a tiny, microscopic fraction of our history living in concrete boxes. When developers integrate massive vertical gardens into a skyscraper, they are essentially hacking our biology to make us feel safe and grounded. Those green walls act as a massive living air purifier and a highly effective acoustic buffer against the hum of city traffic. It is architecture attempting to heal the wound of the Industrial Revolution. We build concrete jungles, and then we desperately try to plant real jungles on top of them just to keep ourselves sane.
That is a staggering way to frame it. Healing the wound of the Industrial Revolution by literally growing a vertical forest on the side of a skyscraper. But it's not just the plants that offer protection and peace of mind. I want to talk about the concept of privacy here, which seems almost obsessive in its execution. I understand that in certain towers of this project, residents have private elevator lobbies. You step into a lift, and the doors open directly into your own personal sanctuary.
That level of privacy is a direct, calculated response to the specific cultural priorities of the Western and international elite. In many Asian cultures, communal living, shared spaces, and neighborly interactions are historically celebrated. But for the global transient elite, absolute privacy is the ultimate luxury. The private elevator means you control your transitions. You don't have to make forced small talk in a crowded lobby after a grueling 14-hour flight. You don't have to share your physical space with a stranger until you explicitly choose to. It creates a seamless, unbroken bubble of personal sovereignty from the moment you leave your chauffeured car to the moment you sit on your sofa. It is the architectural equivalent of putting your phone on airplane mode.
The architectural equivalent of airplane mode. That is brilliant. It almost sounds isolating though, until you look at the shared amenities and realize the community aspect isn't missing. It is just highly curated. I have to bring up the most visually arresting feature of this entire project. The Sky Infinity Pool. But it's not just a standard pool on a roof. It is a glass-bottomed pool suspended in mid-air, connecting the two towers. That sounds equally terrifying and exhilarating. What is the psychological play here?
It is a masterclass in experiential design and status architecture. Suspending a glass-bottom pool between two towers creates a visceral thrill. It plays with our primal perception of gravity and danger, but within a completely safe, highly engineered environment. When you swim across that gap, looking down at the tiny cars and the sprawling city far below you, you experience a mild adrenaline spike followed by the soothing sensation of the water. It's an iconic, highly shareable experience that rivals the most famous luxury resorts in Singapore or Dubai. It transforms a simple, everyday routine, like a morning swim, into a cinematic event. And more importantly, it is an experience that cannot be bought anywhere else in the city.
A cinematic event that you get to live every single day. And the pool is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the wellness ecosystem they have built into the fabric of the building. We are talking about hydrotherapy suites, glass meditation gardens, state-of-the-art fitness centers, and specialized spa zones. It feels like the building is acting as a passive physician, constantly working to optimize the health of its residents.
That is precisely the shift we are seeing in modern luxury real estate. We have moved entirely past the era of smart homes that simply control lighting and temperature via a tablet. We are now in the era of healing homes that actively manage your physical and mental well-being. The integration of hydrotherapy and dedicated meditation spaces acknowledges a very modern, very harsh reality. The higher you climb the corporate or social ladder, the more intense the pressure and the stress. The home can no longer just be a beautiful place to store your expensive belongings. It must be a comprehensive recovery facility. Expats aren't just choosing to invest here for financial returns. They are investing in their own longevity and mental health.
A comprehensive recovery facility for the global elite. That naturally leads us to the people themselves. You can engineer the perfect building, you can plant a vertical forest, and you can suspend a beautiful pool in the clouds, but ultimately, a neighborhood is defined by its inhabitants. This project has drawn a massive concentration of expatriates, diplomats, and business leaders. It's an incredibly dense concentration of global capital and cultural influence.
And that is the unspoken, foundational value of a project of this caliber. When someone purchases a unit or signs a long-term lease here, they are not just buying premium square footage with a nice view. They are buying a seat at a very specific, very exclusive table. They are buying into a curated social ecosystem. Your children play with the children of other global executives. Your casual weekend conversations in the glass garden might organically lead to a multinational business merger. The building filters out the noise and the pollution of the city, but it also filters the social interactions, ensuring that you are surrounded by a peer group that shares your cultural touchstones, your high lifestyle expectations, and your fundamental understanding of civilized living.
It's a fascinating, almost slightly dystopian thought, isn't it? The creation of these vertical, highly optimized micro-societies. On one hand, it is the absolute pinnacle of human engineering and architectural empathy. It caters to our deepest, most primal needs for nature, peace, and meaningful connection. On the other hand, it raises profound questions about the future of our urban spaces. As the elite retreat further into these perfectly calibrated biophilic fortresses in the sky, do we risk losing the messy, beautiful, democratic friction of traditional street-level urban life?
That is arguably the defining urban dilemma of our century. As megacities become more populated, more competitive, and more chaotic, the drive to insulate oneself becomes overwhelming for those who have the financial means to do so. These projects are undeniable masterpieces of design. They are true oases that prove we possess the technology and the vision to build habitats that actually nurture the human spirit rather than slowly crush it. But you are entirely correct to wonder about the broader social cost. If the most influential minds, the policymakers, and the deepest pockets are elevated hundreds of feet in the air, swimming in glass pools and breathing hospital-grade filtered air, they become fundamentally disconnected from the reality of the city sprawling beneath them. The architecture brilliantly solves the problem of urban stress for the individual, but it doesn't solve it for the collective. It creates a paradise, but a paradise with incredibly strict border control.
That is a profoundly sobering thought, to balance against the sheer, undeniable beauty of the design. It forces us to look at a luxury apartment not just as a piece of real estate or an investment portfolio asset, but as a mirror reflecting the deep anxieties and the ultimate desires of our modern world. We crave nature because we have destroyed so much of it, so we glue it to our skyscrapers. We crave community, but only the right kind of community, so we engineer it behind private elevator doors and security checkpoints. We want the thrill of the city, but only on our own highly curated, perfectly climate-controlled terms.
Exactly. And perhaps that is precisely why this specific development in Thao Dien remains so endlessly fascinating and highly sought after. It understands the soul of the modern global citizen perfectly, without judgment. It offers the ultimate flawless compromise, the vibrant, relentless, wealth-generating energy of a rising Asian metropolis, completely neutralized the moment you step inside by the serene, natural tranquility of a private sanctuary. It is a brilliant, beautiful, and deeply complex paradox.
A brilliant, beautiful paradox indeed. It leaves you wondering, as architecture and technology continue to evolve at this breakneck pace, will our homes eventually become so perfect, so entirely self-sufficient, and so entertaining that we never feel the need to leave them at all? And if that day comes, what happens to the vibrant, chaotic city outside our window? Does it just become a backdrop? Something to think about the next time you look up at a glowing skyline. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the invisible costs and the incredible triumphs of world-class living spaces. We will see you next time.